The scripture Mahanirvana Tantra is brought to you by Not a Prophet org, the place on the internet to find spiritual guidance powered by artificial intelligence. Mahanirvana Tantra, or the Tantra of the Great Liberation, translated by Arthur Avalon, Sir John Woodroffe, Chapter 1, Questions relating to the liberation of beings. The enchanting summit of the Lord of Mountains, resplendent with all its various jewels, clad with many a tree and many a creeper, melodious with the song of many a bird, scented with the fragrance of all the seasons' flowers most beautiful, fanned by soft, cool, and perfumed breezes, shadowed by the still shade of stately trees, where cool groves resound with the sweet, voiced songs of troops of Apsara, and in the forest depths flocks of Kakila maddened with passion sing, where Spring, Lord of the Seasons, with his followers ever abide the Lord of Mountains, Kailasa, peopled by troops of Siddha, Charana, Gandharva, and Ganapatya. It was there that Parvati, finding Shiva, her gracious lord, in mood serene, with obeisance bent low, and for the benefit of all the worlds questioned him. The silent Deva, Lord of all things movable and immovable, the ever beneficent and ever blissful one, the nectar of whose mercy abounds as a great ocean, whose very essence is the pure sattva guna, he who is white as camphor and the jasmine flower, the omnipresent one, whose raiment is space itself, Lord of the poor and the beloved master of all yogi, whose coiled and matted hair is wet with the spray of Ganga, and of whose naked body ashes are the adornment only, the passionless one, whose neck is garlanded with snakes and skulls of men, the three-eyed one, Lord of the three worlds, with one hand wielding the trident and with the other bestowing blessings, easily appeased, whose very substance is unconditioned knowledge, the bestower of eternal emancipation, the ever-existent, fearless, changeless, stainless, one without defect, the benefactor of all, and the Deva of all. Devas Shri Parvati said, O Deva of the Devas, Lord of the world, jewel of mercy, my husband, thou art my Lord, on whom I am ever dependent, and to whom I am ever obedient, nor can I say aught without thy word. If thou hast affection for me, I crave to lay before thee that which passeth in my mind. Who else but thee, O great Lord, in the three worlds, is able to solve these doubts of mine? Thou who knowest all, and all the scriptures. Shri Sadashiva said, What is that thou sayest, O thou great, wise one and beloved of my heart? I will tell thee anything, be it ever so bound in mystery, even that which should not be spoken of before Ganesha and Skanda, commander of the hosts of heaven. What is there in all the three worlds which should be concealed from thee? For thou, O Devi, art my very self. There is no difference between me and thee. Thou too art omnipresent. What is it then that thou knowest not, that thou questionest like unto one who knoweth nothing? The pure Parvati, gladdened at hearing the words of the Deva, bending low made obeisance, and thus questioned Shankara. Shri Adiya said, O Bhagavan, Lord of all, greatest among those who are versed in dharma, thou in former ages in thy mercy didst through Brahma reveal the 4 Vedas, which are the propagators of all dharma, and which ordain the rules of life for all the varying castes of men, and for the different stages of their lives in the first age. Men by the practice of yoga and yajna prescribed by thee were virtuous and pleasing to Devas, and Pitris by the study of the Vedas, dhyana and tapas, and the conquest of the senses. By acts of mercy and charity men were of exceeding power and courage, strength and vigor, adherents of the true dharma, wise and truthful, and of firm resolve. And mortals though they were yet like Devas, and went to the abode of the Devas. 21:22. Kings then were faithful to their engagements, and were ever concerned with the protection of their people, upon whose wives they were wont to look as if upon their mothers, and whose children they regarded as their very own. The people, too, did then look upon a neighbor's property as if it were mere lumps of clay, and, with devotion to their dharma, kept to the path of righteousness. There were then no liars, none who were selfish, thievish, malicious, foolish, none who were evil-minded, envious, wrathful, gluttonous, or lustful, but all were good of heart and of ever blissful mind. Land then yielded in plenty all kinds of grain, clouds showered seasonable rains, cows gave abundant milk, and trees were weighted with fruits. No untimely death there was, nor famine, nor sickness. Men were ever cheerful, prosperous, and healthy, and endowed with all qualities of beauty and brilliance. Women were chaste and devoted to their husbands. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras kept to, and followed the customs, dharma, yajna, of their respective castes, and attained the final liberation after the Krita Age had passed away. Thou didst in the Treta Age perceive dharma to be in disorder, and that men were no longer able by Vedic rites to accomplish their desires. For men, through their anxiety and perplexity, were unable to perform these rites in which much trouble had to be overcome, and for which much preparation had to be made. In constant distress of mind, they were neither able to perform, nor yet were willing to abandon the rites. Having observed this, thou didst make known on earth the scripture in the form of Smriti, which explains the meaning of the Vedas, and thus delivered from sin, which is cause of all pain, sorrow, and sickness, men too feeble for the practice of tapas and the study of the Vedas. For men in this terrible ocean of the world, who is there but thee to be their cherisher, protector, savior, their fatherly benefactor, and Lord? Then in the Dvapara Age, when men abandoned the good works prescribed in the Smritis, and were deprived of one half of dharma, and were afflicted by ills of mind and body, they were yet again saved by thee through the instructions of the Samhita and other religious lore. Now the sinful Kali Age is upon them, when dharma is destroyed, an age full of evil customs and deceit. Men pursue evil ways. The Vedas have lost their power, the Smritis are forgotten, and many of the Puranas, which contain stories of the past, and show the many ways which lead to liberation, will, O Lord, be destroyed. Men will become averse from religious rites, without restraint, maddened with pride, ever given over to sinful acts, lustful, gluttonous, cruel, heartless, harsh of speech, deceitful, short-lived, poverty-stricken, harassed by sickness and sorrow, ugly, feeble, low, stupid, mean, and addicted to mean habits, companions of the base, thievish, calumnious, malicious, quarrelsome, depraved, cowards, and ever ailing, devoid of all sense of shame and sin, and of fear to seduce the wives of others. Vipras will live like the Shudras, and whilst neglecting their own, Sandhya will yet officiate at the sacrifices of the low. They will be greedy, given over to wicked and sinful acts, liars, insolent, ignorant, deceitful, mere hangers-on of others, the sellers of their daughters, degraded, averse to all tapas and vrata. They will be heretics, impostors, and think themselves wise. They will be without faith or devotion, and will do japa and puja with no other end than to dupe the people. They will eat unclean food and follow evil customs. They will serve and eat the food of the Shudras and lust after low women, and will be wicked and ready to barter for money even their own wives too. The low, in short, the only sign that they are Brahmanas will be the thread they wear. Observing no rule in eating or drinking or in other matters, scoffing at the Dharma scriptures, no thought of pious speech ever so much as entering their minds, they will be but bent upon the injury of the good-bye. Thee also have been composed for the good and liberation of men the Tantras, a mass of agamas and nigamas, which bestow both enjoyment and liberation, containing mantras and yantras and rules as to the sadhana of both devis and devis. By thee, too, have been described many forms of nyasa, such as those called srishti, esthiti, and sanghara. By thee, again, have been described the various seated positions of yoga, such as that of the tied and loosened lotus, the pashu, vira, and divya classes of men, as also the devata, who gives success in the use of each of the mantras. And yet again it is thou who hast made known in 1,000 ways rites relating to the worship with woman, and the rites which are done with the use of skulls, a corpse, or when seated on a funeral pyre. By thee, too, have been forbidden both Pashubhava and Divyabhava. If in this age the Pashubhava cannot exist, how can there be Divyabhava? For the Pashu must with his own hand collect leaves, flowers, fruits, and water, and should not look at a Shudra or even think of a woman. On the other hand, the Divya is all but a diva, ever pure of heart, and to whom all opposites are alike, free from attachment to worldly things, the same to all creatures and forgiving. How can men with the taint of this age upon them, who are ever of restless mind, prone to sleep and sloth, attain to purity of disposition? By thee, too, have been spoken the rites of virasadhana, relating to the panchatattva, namely, wine, meat, fish, parched grain, and sexual union of man and woman. But since the men of the Kali age are full of greed, lust, gluttony, they will on that account neglect sadhana and will fall into sin, and having drunk much wine for the sake of the pleasure of the senses, will become mad with intoxication, and bereft of all notion of right and wrong. Some will violate the wives of others, others will become rogues, and some, in the indiscriminating rage of lust, will go whoever she be, with any woman over-eating and drinking, will disease many, and deprive them of strength and sense. Disordered by madness, they will meet death, falling into lakes, pits, or in impenetrable forests, or from hills or housetops, while some will be as mute as corpses, others will be forever on chatter, and yet others will quarrel with their kinsmen and elders. They will be evil, doers, cruel, and the destroyers of dharma. I fear, O Lord, that even that which thou hast ordained for the good of men will through them turn out for evil, O Lord of the world. Who will practice yoga or nyasa, who will sing the hymns and draw the yantra and make purashcharana. Under the influences of the Kali age, man will of his nature become indeed wicked and bound to all manner of sin. Say, O Lord of all the distressed, in thy mercy, how without great pains men may obtain longevity, health, and energy, increase of strength and courage, learning, intelligence, and happiness, and how they may become great in strength and valor, pure of heart, obedient to parents, not seeking the love of others' wives, but devoted to their own, mindful of the good of their neighbor, reverent to the devas and to their gurus, cherishers of their children and kinsmen, possessing the knowledge of the Brahman, learned in the lore of, and ever meditating on, the Brahman. Say, O Lord, for the good of the world, what men should or should not do according to their different castes and stages of life. For who but thee is their protector in all the three worlds? End of the first joyful message, entitled Questions Relating to the Liberation of Beings. Chapter 2, Introduction to the Worship of Brahman. Having heard the words of the Divi, Shankara, bestower of happiness on the world, great ocean of mercy, thus of the truth of things spoke. Sadashiva said, O exalted and holy one, benefactress of the universe, well has it been asked by thee. By none has such an auspicious question been asked afort. I'm worthy of all thanks art thou, who knoweth all good, benefactress of all born in this age, O gentle one. Thou art omniscient. Thou knowest the past, present, and future, and dharma. What thou hast said about the past, present, and future, and indeed all things, is in accordance with dharma, and is the truth, and is without a doubt accepted by me. O Shurshvari, I say unto you most truly and without all doubt that men, whether they be of the twice-born or other castes, afflicted as they are by this sinful age, and unable to distinguish the pure from impure, will not obtain purity or the success of their desired ends by the Vedic ritual, or that prescribed by the Samhitas and Smritis. Verily, verily, and yet again verily, I say unto you that in this age there is no way to liberation but that proclaimed by the Agama I, O blissful one, have already foretold in the Vedas, Smritis, and Puranas, that in this age the wise shall worship after the doctrine of the Agama. Verily, verily, and beyond all doubt, I say to you that there is no liberation for him who in this age, heedless of such doctrine, follows another. There is no Lord but I in this world, and I alone am he who is spoken of in the Vedas, Puranas, and Smritis, and Samhitas. The Vedas and the Puranas proclaim me to be the cause of the purity of the three worlds, and they who are averse to my doctrine are unbelievers and sinners, as great as those who slay a Brahmana. Therefore, O Divi, the worship of him who heeds not my precepts is fruitless, and moreover, such an one goes to hell. The fool who would follow other doctrine heedless of mine is as great a sinner as the slayer of a Brahmana or of a woman or a parricide. Have no doubt of that in this age the mantras of the Tantras are efficacious, yield immediate fruit, and are auspicious for japa, yajna, and all such practices and ceremonies. The Vedic rites and mantras, which were efficacious in the first age, have ceased to be so in this. They are now as powerless as snakes, the poison, fangs of which are drawn, and are like to that which is dead. The whole heap of other mantras have no more power than the organs of sense of some pictured image on a wall. To worship with the aid of other mantras is as fruitless as it is to cohabit with a barren woman. The labor is lost. He who in this age seeks salvation by ways prescribed by others is like a thirsty fool who digs a well on the bank of the Genevi, and he who, knowing my dharma, craves for any other is as one who with nectar in his house yet longs for the poisonous juice of the akanda plant. No other path is there to salvation and happiness in this life, or in that to come, like unto that shown by the Tantras. From my mouth have issued the several Tantras with their sacred legends and practices, both for siddhas and sadhakas at times, O my beloved. By reason of the great number of men of the Pashu disposition, as also of the diversity of the qualifications of men, it has been said that the dharma spoken of in the Kulachara scriptures should be kept secret, but some portions of this dharma, O beloved, have been revealed by me, with the object of inclining the minds of men thereto. Various kinds of devata and worshippers are mentioned therein, such as Bhairava, Vatala, Vatuka, Naika, Shaktas, Shaivas, Vaishnavas, Sauras, Ganapatyas, and others. In them, too, are described various mantra and yantra, which aid men in the attainment of siddhi, and which, though they demand great and constant effort, yet yield the desired fruit. Hitherto my answer has been given according to the nature of the case and the questioner, and for his individual benefit. Only none before has ever questioned me as thou hast done for the advantage of all mankind, nay, for the benefit of all that breathes, and that, too, in such detail and with reference to the dharma of each of the different ages. Therefore, out of my affection for thee, O Parvati, I will speak to thee of the essence of essences and of the supreme, O Deveshi. I will state before thee the very essence distilled from the Vedas and Agamas, and in particular from the Tantras, as men versed in the Tantras are to other men, as the Jahnavi is to other rivers, as I am to all other devas, so is the Mahanirvana Tantra to all other Agamas, O auspicious one. Of what avail are the Vedas, the Puranas, or the Shastras, since he who has the knowledge of this great Tantra is Lord of all Siddhi? Since thou hast questioned me for the good of the world, I will speak to thee of that which will lead to the benefit of the universe, O Parameshvari. Should good be done to the universe, the Lord of it is pleased, since he is its soul, and it depends on him. He is one. He is the ever existent. He is the truth. He is the supreme unity without a second. He is ever full and self-manifest. He is eternal intelligence and bliss. He is without change, self-existent, and ever the same, serene, above all attributes. He beholds and is the witness of all that passes, omnipresent, the soul of everything that is. He, the eternal and omnipresent, is hidden and pervades all things. Though himself devoid of sense, he is the illuminator of all the senses and their powers, the cause of all the three worlds. He is yet beyond them and the mind of men. Ineffable and omniscient, he knows the universe, yet none know him. He sways this incomprehensible universe, and all that has movement and is motionless in the three worlds depends on him. And lighted by his truth, the world shines as does truth itself. We too have come from him as our cause. He, the one supreme Lord, is the cause of all beings, the manifestation of whose creative energy in the three worlds is called Brahma. By his will Vishnu protects and I destroy. Indra and all other guardian devas of the world depend on him and hold rule in their respective regions under his command. Thou, his supreme Prakriti art, adored in all the three worlds, each one does his work by the power of him who exists in his heart. None are ever independent of him. Through fear of him the wind blows, the sun gives heat, the clouds shower seasonable rain, and the trees in the forest flower. It is he who destroys time at the great dissolution, of whom even fear and death itself are afraid. He is Bhagavan, who is known as Yat Tat in the Vedanta, O adored of the Devas. All the Devas and Devis, nay, the whole universe, from Brahma to a blade of grass, are his forms. If he be pleased, the universe is pleased. If aught be done to gratify him, then the gratification of all is caused as the pouring of water at the root of a tree satisfies the wants of the leaves and branches. So by worshipping him all the deathless ones are satisfied, just as, O virtuous one, all the beautiful ones are pleased when thou art worshipped, and when men meditate on and make japa and pray to thee, as all rivers must go to the ocean. So, O Parvati, all acts of worship must reach him as the ultimate goal, whoever be the worshipper, and whoever be the devata. He reverentially worships for some desired end. All that is given to him through the deva he so worships comes from him as the supreme. O, what use is it to say more before thee, O my beloved? There is none other but him to meditate upon, to pray to worship for the attainment of liberation. Need there is none to trouble, to fast, to torture one's body, to follow rules and customs, to make large offerings. Need there is none to be heedful as to time, nor as to nyasa or mudra. Wherefore, O Kilashani, who will strive to seek shelter elsewhere than with him? End of the second joyful message, entitled Introduction to the Worship of Brahman. Chapter 3, Description of the Worship of the Supreme Brahman. Shri Devi said, O Deva of the Devas, great Deva, Guru of Brihaspati himself, thou who discourseth of all scriptures, mantra, sadhana, and haste, spoken of the Supreme Brahman, by the adoration of whom mortals attain happiness and liberation, do thou, O Lord, deign to instruct us in the way of service of the Supreme Soul and of the observances, mantra, and meditation in his worship. It is my desire, O Lord, to hear the essential substance of all these from thee. Shri Sadashiva said, Listen then, O beloved of my life, to the most secret and supreme truth, the mystery whereof has nowhere yet been revealed. Because of my affection for thee, I shall speak to thee of that Supreme Brahman, who is ever existent, intelligent, and who is dearer to me than life itself. O Maheshvari, the eternal, intelligent, infinite Brahman may be known in its real self, or by its external signs. That which is changeless, existent only, and beyond both mind and speech, which shines as the truth amidst the illusion of the three worlds, is the Brahman according to its real nature. That Brahman is known in Samadhi Yoga by those who look upon all things alike, who are above all contraries, devoid of doubt, free of all illusion regarding body and soul. That same Brahman is known from his external signs, from whom the whole universe has sprung, in whom when so sprung it exists, and into whom all things return. That which is known by intuition may also be perceived from these external signs. For those who would know him through these external signs, for them sadhana is enjoined. Attend to me, thou, O dearest one, while I speak to thee of such sadhana. And firstly, O Adai, I tell thee of the mantradhara of the Supreme Brahman. Utter first the pranava, then the words existence and intelligence, and after the word one, say Brahman, mantra Ong Sachchidekam Brahma. This is the mantra. These words, when combined according to the rules of Sandhi, form a mantra of 7 letters. If the pranava be omitted, it becomes a mantra of 6 letters only. This is the most excellent of all the mantras, and the one which immediately bestows dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. In the use of this mantra, there is no need to consider whether it be efficacious or not, or friendly or inimical, for no such considerations affect it. Nor at initiation into this mantra is it necessary to make calculations as to the phases of the moon, the propitious junction of the stars, or as to the signs of the zodiac. Nor are there any rules as to whether the mantra is suitable or not, nor is there need of the 10 samskara. This mantra is in every way efficacious in initiation. There is no necessity for considering anything else. Should one have obtained, through merit acquired in previous births, an excellent guru, from whose lips this mantra is received, then life indeed becomes fruitful, and the worshipper receiving in his hands dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, rejoices both in this world and the next. He whose ears this great jewel of mantra reaches is indeed blessed, for he has attained the desired end, being virtuous and pious, and is as one who has bathed in the sacred places, been initiated in all yajnas, versed in all scriptures, and honored in all the worlds. Happy is the father and happy the mother of such a one, yea, and yet more than this, his family is hallowed, and the gladdened spirits of the Pitris rejoice with Th Devas, and in the excess of their Joy sing. In our family is born the most excellent of our race, one initiate in the Brahma-Mantra. What need have we now of Pinda offered at Gaya, or of Shraddha, Tarpana, pilgrimage at holy places? Of what use are alms, japa, homa, or sadhana, since now we have obtained imperishable satisfaction? Listen, O Divi, adored of the world, whilst I tell you the very truth that for the worshippers of the supreme Brahman there is no need for other religious observances. At the very moment of initiation into this mantra, the disciple is filled with Brahman, and for such an one, O Divi, what is there which is unattainable in all the three worlds? Against him what can adverse planets or Vatala, Chetaka, Pishacha, Gahyaka, Buddha, the Matrika, Dakini, and other spirits avail? The very sight of him will drive them to flight with averted faces. Guarded by the Brahma-Mantra, clad with the splendor of Brahman, he is as it were another sun. What should he fear, then, from any planet? They flee, frightened like elephants at the sight of a lion, and perish like moths in a flame. No sin can touch, and none but one as wicked as a suicide can harm, him who is purified by truth without blemish, a benefactor of all beings, a faithful believer in Brahman. The wicked and sinful, who seek to harm him, who is initiate in the knowledge of the supreme Brahman, do but harm themselves, for are they not indeed in essence inseparate from the ever-existent one? For he is the holy sage and well-wisher, working for the happiness of all, and, O Divi, should it be possible to harm such an one who can go in peace? For him, however, who has no knowledge of the meaning of nor of the awakening of the mantra, it is fruitless, even though it were inwardly uttered 10,000,000 times. Listen, then, O my beloved, while I tell thee of the meaning and awakening of mantra. By the letter A is meant the protector of the world. The letter U denotes its destroyer, and M stands for its creator. The meaning of Sat is ever, existent, of Chit, intelligence, and of Ekam, one without a second. Brahman is so called because he exists everywhere. Now, O Divi, I have given you the meaning of the mantra, which grants the fulfillment of desires. The awakening of the mantra is the knowledge of him, who is the pervading devata of the mantra, and such knowledge, O supreme Divi, yields the fruit of worship to the worshipper. O Divi, the presiding devata of the mantra is the omnipresent, eternal, inscrutable, formless, passionless, and ineffable Brahman. When introduced by the Vija of Sarasvati, Maya, or Kamala, instead of the mantra Om, it bestows various kinds of learning, siddhi, and prosperity in every quarter. The mantra may be varied either by the prefixing or omitting of Om, or by the placing of it before each word, or every 2 words of the mantra. Sadashiva is the rishi of this mantra. The verse is called Anushtup, and its presiding devata is the supreme Brahman, who is without attributine, who abides in all things. It avails for the attainment of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Now listen, dear one, whilst I speak to you of anga-nyasa and kara-nyasa, O great and adorable Divi. The syllable Om, the word Sat, Chit, Ekam, Brahma, should be pronounced over the thumb, the threatening finger, the middle, nameless, and little fingers respectively, followed in each case by the words Nama, Svaha, Vashat, Hung, and Vashat. And Ong Sachchidekam Brahma should be said over the palm and back of the hand, followed by the mantra Fat 41, 42. The worshipper-disciple should in the like manner, with his mind well under control, perform anga-nyasa in accordance with the rules thereof, commencing with the heart and ending with the hands. After this, whilst reciting the mantra Om, or the Mula mantra, pranayama should be performed thus. He should close the left nostril with the middle of the 4th finger, and then inhale through the right nostril, meanwhile making japa of the pranava or the Mula mantra 8 times. Then, closing the right nostril with the thumb, and shutting also the mouth, make japa of the mantra 30, 2 times. After that, gently exhale the breath through the right nostril, doing japa of the mantra the while 16 times. In the same way, perform these 3 acts with the left nostril, and then repeat the same process with the right nostril. O adored of the Devas, I have now told thee of the method of pranayama to be observed in the use of the Brahma-Mantra. The sadhaka should then make meditation which accomplishes his desire.